This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It's Monday, August 2nd. Happy birthday to my brother. I'm Jeff here with my friends Stephanie and Al. Every time I see a date on there, I'm like, it's somebody's birthday. And today, it's my brother's.
I love that.
Yeah.
How old's your brother going to be today?
Old. After 40, we stop counting.
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
the youngest, and I'm 43. So I think he's going to be 48, just to give you a number there. All right, so when it comes, isn't that crazy to say that? Sorry, I got a little caught up there. My brother's going to be 48.
I get it. Why?
Is Tori laughing back there? She's like 59. All right, when it comes to celebrities getting canceled, what happens if you cancel yourself? Some people are saying that's just what Matt Damon did. So, the actor just admitted that he only recently gave up using a homophobic slur. We'll call it the other F word, and it's all thanks to one of his daughters. So after Matt made a joke using the word, she wrote a lengthy essay on why he should never say it, and that's apparently what changed his mind. On the one hand, good for him, right? Good for him for not using it, but the internet wasn't about to let him get off that easy. Comedian Billy Eichner said, "I'd like to know what word Matt Damon replaced it with." Another user commented that the fact that Matt Damon's daughter had to explain to him that saying the slur is wrong is insane. And yet another user wrote, "The hole that dude dug himself might come out the other side of the earth soon." So a lot of examples there of why Matt is wrong. Do you credit him at all for learning this late in life, or should he take what he's getting?
No, I think, fair play. He's like listened to his daughter and she's like educated him. But I just think, why is he telling the world about it? I just don't understand. Like, just learn in private and just don't use it anymore. I mean, I don't know. Am I being really harsh?
No. I think you're right. They said her daughter wrote a lengthy essay.
Yeah.
Where? On social media?
I'm
I
guessing
think just at the house, I think.
Yeah.
She just wrote an essay?
But like, isn't that mad that like at the age that Matt Damon is, it takes his daughter to write an essay for him to understand why he shouldn't use a really awful word? Like, I just find that kind of mind-blowing. Like, just
and
don't
especially
use
in today's
it.
day and age, right? Especially in today's day and age, you know what words not to use, and it's all of them.
Yeah, it's all of them, and it also, like, and I'm not defending the use of that word,
Right.
obviously, but I lived in the Northeast. I lived in Providence, which is close to Boston, and I lived there in the kind of early 2000s, and I know from where he's from in the 80s and 90s, that word, unfortunately, I don't know how it was in the UK, I'm actually curious, was almost not a slur. It was a way to address your friends if you didn't feel like they were being man enough, which is a slur, but it wasn't always hurled just at gay people. It was just a way, it was a part of people's vernacular, almost like the R word, which was a part of hooks and songs that were played on the radio, which now in the 2000s, no less. So we are getting better with age. I'm sure it'd be impossible for our kids to even understand a world with no gay marriage. But there are people that are from another generation, from another time on this planet, and it's weird when you see it in your face because you can't believe people still think like that.
We're all a product of where we came from,
Absolutely.
right? And unfortunately, that was part of the vernacular growing up, even in where I came from, right?
Yeah.
You just use that word almost as an adjective, right? You said that you learn at some point not to say that, or that it is offending people, and you correct yourself, right?
Yeah.
But this late in the game, we're just talking about 48, my brother's 48, getting, you get to a certain age where you know not to use those words.
I think so, unless no one's called him out.
Right.
Do you think, when you're that famous, do you think people just don't call you out and just don't say anything because it is Matt Damon? Does that make sense? So they just kind of
Totally
like
makes
turn a
sense.
blind eye and they're like, okay, let's pretend he didn't say
and let's not
that.
act like, we're talking about Matt Damon, the movie star. Let's not act like, and I'm not saying this is all construction workers, but there are construction sites, pool halls, bars, and places where that is okay. There are bars where I'm sure you can still smoke. It's just like from another time.
Yeah.
And it's hard to believe, but I'd rather him admit this, which I don't know why he did, and start a conversation for people that are his age that are learning about it. It might be like, oh, I was doing that too.
Yeah, it is brave that he's saying it because cancel culture is rife now, and you say one thing and you are done. So, it's brave that he's been like, hey, I've been called out and I'm not going to do it no more because you're putting your career on the line.
And I want to go back to his daughter for a minute. He does something wrong and she wrote an essay about it.
I love that.
Yeah.
She must be so smart.
She must be crazy. Imagine if you did something like you swore and all of a sudden your son's like, excuse me, did you read this? I'd be like mortified.
It's like indented with commas. You're like, oh, he's serious.
He's really upset. Okay, so we're not done with Matt just yet. There's another woman calling him out, and instead of his daughter, this time it's Amanda Knox. She's speaking out about his new movie, Stillwater. So you may remember her as the young American woman who was exonerated for killing her roommate in Italy. Now she's accusing Stillwater director Tom McCarthy, as well as Matt Damon, of profiting off her experiences without consulting her first. The film tells the story of a dad who travels abroad to defend his daughter after she was wrongfully charged with murder. It's even been said that the Amanda Knox saga directly influenced the film, but Amanda is not happy about it and says she does not give her consent. I'm on Amanda's side on this one. If they're directly taking her story and her version of the story and using it into the plot line, without giving her some sort of compensation. I'm against people who write documentaries about Tiger Woods and don't put them in there, or they write books about Bill Clinton or whatever president,
or like
and they don't know them.
What's it called? Not an autobiography, when it's by
an autobiography of yourself.
Yeah, no, like the other way. Well, there's a word for it.
It's just
anyway.
a biography.
Yeah,
right?
biography, and it's like, oh, I
someone
knew
wrote
them.
one about Kris Jenner. It's like they're profiting off of someone else's life. They should be compensated for their likeness. That's what I think.
No, I understand that, and I hear exactly what you're saying. But I mean, this has been around since the age of time. So, like, we see all those biographies from the royals or the Kardashians or whatever. People want to get a glimpse into that world. We look at all the documentaries about Britney Spears. You know, literally, she is alive. She's literally going through all these horrendous court moments and conservatorship and everything, and they're just talking about it as if they know, and they're in the room, and she's not given her consent. Or we look at like the Pamela Anderson,
Tommy Lee,
and Tommy Lee thing that's coming out. We see it all the time, and I think when you are like at that level, especially with this day and age when content is rife, Netflix, Amazon, all these big streaming services, they want content. And it's a big story, it's going to happen.
Let me ask you guys this, though. What if somebody says, hey, there's always been a story of like almost like Taken with Liam Neeson.
Right.
Somebody takes something happens to your child overseas, and this father goes to defend their son or their daughter, usually daughter, because they're perceived as more vulnerable. So I feel like couldn't they just say, if we're not using your name, this story's been around since the beginning of time, a father taking up for their son or a mother taking up for their son?
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. But if you're being obscure and just using that sort of formula, I think that's okay. But if you're directly using someone's likeness or personality, or naming, if her name's Amanda in the movie, I don't know.
I'm sure it's happened a million times, and I'll watch it.
You'll check it out?
Oh, yeah. I'll watch it.
Do you think Matt Damon, you think a lot of people won't go watch it because of what he recently said?
No.
I think people will go see it.
I think people will see it.
He's a movie star, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
People
all right.
be there.
All right, guys. 19-year-old Billie Eilish has made her mark as a nonconformist, but that doesn't make the pressure of fame any easier, especially when it comes to her own body. So the world first got to know the girl with the whispery voice, neon hair, and baggy clothes, and then learned it was her way of protecting herself from scrutiny of her body. But she's now wears clothes that show her shape instead of hiding her body, but no matter what look she chooses, she is still held to unattainable standards. In a recent interview, she said, quote, if you're always standing a certain way, walking in a certain way, and always have your hair just so, it's such a loss to always try to always look good. It's such a loss of joy and freedom in your body. Mm-hmm. So we saw this with Billie Eilish, right? We've done this story before, and now I feel like it's her age, too. She's coming into her age. She wants to be a little bit more, or maybe, could you even say the word feminine? Is that okay to use that word
feminine
to describe someone?
Yes, whatever.
Yeah, I think she's just changing her style, isn't she?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say in a positive way. But you say that word, and I'm like, did I say something wrong?
We see pop stars or actors, whatever, reinventing themselves a million times. So, you know, P. Diddy became Puff Daddy, J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, Johnny from the Block, whatever. We see all these stars, like, you have to reinvent yourself or literally people get bored.
Right.
We see Ariana Grande. She stopped wearing her iconic big, long ponytail now, and she's got shorter hair.
Does she?
Yeah. Well, so all her days of acting, and then she had to bleach her hair for really red for her old Disney show, and it snapped all her hair off. So that's why she started wearing like wigs with the big long hair. And she said the minute it grows out, she wants her hair back. So I think that's just how this industry is as well. You have to remain. We see Dua Lipa change her hair and outfit style every week. I think the thing with Billie Eilish is she was very young when she came on the scene with her brother, very young, and you know she felt a certain type of way. I think it's a way of protecting herself also. Like kind of like a mask, like hiding. Whereas now she's a more of appropriate age, and she's like, you know what? I want to experiment. I don't have to always be this grungy, neon, baggy, grumpy teenager that's hiding.
Right.
You know, she's a woman and she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And also the freedom can only be taken from you to dress how you'd like to dress if you allow it to be taken. Now here on the set, we do have some standards. I can't wear a tank top, which I'm still pushing for. But, you know,
I'm with you.
Yeah, but it's on her. She is a pop star. She is her own industry. So she may decide to dress in all black for her next album, just like Janet Jackson did with the one album.
Yeah.
Everybody changes. Sometimes you're in a different headspace. Sometimes you're wearing a wig or big sunglasses. We've seen it with Kanye. We've seen it with Outkast.
Yeah.
You see groups change, and I think she's definitely allowed to do it. I just don't want her to take away from her own process by worrying about what others might say. Because whatever she does, you're dressing too baggy, you're dressing too sexy, you're too young to wear that, you're too old to wear that. So just wear what you want, Steph.
No, I know. She's amazing. She's amazing.
It is the scrutiny of fame, though. It is.
Yeah, no, it is. Well, no matter what you do, if you're of that higher level, there's going to be someone who's got something to say, or a keyboard warrior, or someone who says, you were meant to be protecting women by not showing, now you're showing, or someone being
like... You can't listen to all that.
You can't.
You got to do like what Al said. Do you.
Exactly.
You know what she should call, when I think of stories like this of people changing their image or their body, Miley Cyrus is like the first one that pops up.
Oh, yeah.
Being like that Disney star or whatever she was on to coming into what we know of Miley Cyrus now. Worked out for her.
She came in like a wrecking ball.
She sure did. She's doing all right. Coming up on DBL, we talk with a comedian who is shedding light on postpartum depression. Very important stuff. She's taking her personal struggles out on the road to help other women. Plus, Scarlett Johansson sues Disney, the big dispute that could change Hollywood as we know it.
Oh my gosh.
Closed captioning provided by
Larry.
Nation, I'm Lindsay Granger. I'm a trained journalist. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I learned to extensively research. I've written a documentary. I describe myself as the host that will bring a fresh perspective to the panel. I think Tori and I might disagree.
Not a nice thing for the president to say. Everyone's blowing out of proportion.
But that's okay, because today we need that. DBL is a creative, fun, and fast-paced type of show. Who wouldn't want to be at DBL? I'm looking forward to joining the panel and getting into some fun, interesting, and intense conversations. But it's important today. We need to agree to disagree and have the dialogue. A lot of people watch TV and say, how am I represented? DBL is the answer to that question. I'm Lindsay Granger, and I hope to be your voice.
What's up, DBL Nation? Al Jackson here. I'm the host that brings a little bit of levity to the panel. Let's be honest, things get a little serious. Sometimes you gotta break that up with a little humor. That's where I come in. Why can't you be an adult and be uncomfortable for a few hours? It's all right. Something viewers might not know about me, I have a degree in biology. I know, it's weird. I wasted my money. And then I decided to go to graduate school for biomedical sciences. So that happened. The co-host that makes me laugh the hardest is Tori. She's one of a kind.
I'm just saying anything is possible if you trout yourself.
The co-host that irritates me easily is Tori. She's one of a kind.
Tori, does that taste like a neighborhood you've never been to?
Oh my God!
DBL is bold. DBL is unfiltered. DBL is uncensored. DBL is slightly censored.
Back to where it all started. Where did you think I was all this time? We have unfinished business.
My girls are the toughest girls in the world.
Ooh, I missed the movies, huh? That was a clip from Marvel's Black Widow, but a different kind of battle is shaping up off screen. So, Scarlett Johansson just filed a lawsuit against Disney saying she lost $50 million because of the way they released it. So here's the deal. The movie earned $158 million worldwide during its opening weekend, then another $60 million from Disney Plus. But Scarlett says releasing it in theaters and on Disney Plus broke her contract and kept millions from her. Disney says they fully complied with Scarlett's contract and that she's already earned $20 million with the ability to get more money in the future. So now some websites are reporting that Emma Stone, who starred as Cruella, might be next. No lawsuit has been filed yet, but it's reported she's weighing her options. So is Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit just the beginning? Listen, contracts are tricky in Hollywood. It's tough to explain it. We're not lawyers up here. But if it says in her contract she's only getting paid off the box office and not off the streaming service, there's really no lawsuit there. But I don't know exactly what she signed.
I mean, I don't know when this was shot, but I assume it was pre-COVID because there's a lot of editing, especially on Marvel and stuff like
3
that.
years ago at least.
Sure,
yeah, so that was before COVID, before everyone wasn't going to the box office. They weren't going to the cinemas, so maybe it wasn't in her contract, you know? I mean, Disney are very smart, and I don't think they're going to go against anything. You know, they've been in this situation, I'm sure, a million times in a million different ways, and Disney aren't going to, you know, I can't think of the word, go against something illegally, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and this might be going out on a limb, I think Disney has 1 or 2 lawyers.
Yeah.
And I think that they probably have saw this COVID thing coming and figured out a way to deal with contracts. And Emma Stone, I'm sure she has a couple of good lawyers, but she don't have what Disney has.
Yeah. Right.
And this just seems like somebody got their handed to them in a glass conference room. This seems like an issue with your lawyer. We are not contract. There are people that go to school just for contracts.
Yeah.
Right.
Just for this. And this is your job. So the fact that this wasn't so clear that she could put on her Instagram, here's the contract, highlight the line, if it's even a little blurry, I think Disney's going to be able to take that. So this is maybe a forewarning to other actors and actresses that, this is being done.
The world has changed, you know?
Yeah.
The world has changed. And Disney are smart. If they're going to find a loophole and they're like, okay, we're now going to stream it and it's not part of a contract, that's money that's going straight to them in their bank. They don't care.
Right.
You know, but I think as well, it's a tough position when you are someone like Scarlett Johansson or Emma Stone. To get to that level it's like 1 in a million billion, isn't it? So, like, you know, are you going to go up against someone and risk your potential the rest of your career?
I'm getting a conspiracy theory here. I want to get you guys' opinions really quickly. Do you think that they maybe tested the movie with test audiences and it didn't do well, and they were like, we don't want to release this into the theaters. We just kind of want to cut our losses and make what we can streaming?
No. I think they're going to crush money. I think they're going to make money.
I don't think it did that great. It didn't do that great the first weekend.
But people love Marvel, don't they?
Yeah.
But not all Marvel movies are created the same.
But what does this mean for Scarlett Johansson now moving forward? Is she going to work with Disney ever again?
Is she cutting her nose to spite her face?
That's what I'm saying. 20 million plus she's going to make already. At what point is enough? Or do you want to fight because you still feel like you made that money for that? It's a deeper conversation.
It's tough. I mean, if you're Scarlett Johansson, I see why you want the money. But at the same time, how much money do you really need?
I like how you say Johansson.
Yes, it sounds way better than what I say.
Coming up on DBL, a comedian makes it her mission to help other women struggling with postpartum depression. She's going to tell us all about it. Very important stuff.
Delta variant continues to race across the U.S., but what makes this COVID mutation more dangerous? Let's connect the dots. When you take a closer look at the Delta variant, it doesn't look all that threatening. It actually has fewer genetic changes than earlier versions. But what it does have makes it very good at spreading from person to person. That includes creating an incubation period of 4 days instead of 6, so people are contagious earlier. That means people infected with Delta on average pass it to 6 other people instead of the 2 to 3 people infected by people with the original version. So what mutations does Delta have? Well, one affects spike proteins. You know, those spikes that make the coronavirus so recognizable. The mutation increases the number of those spike proteins, which is bad because it uses those spikes to invade cells. It also has another one that appears to increase the viral load in patients, which would explain why people with Delta have 1,000 times more of the virus in their respiratory tract. Scientists don't believe the Delta variant is any more lethal than other COVID mutations. The severity of the disease people are suffering is similar to the original strain, but that doesn't mean it's not more deadly, because it can infect so many more people, and quickly, we may see higher death tolls. Connecting the dots, Matt Maisel, Fox 43 News.
Welcome back to DBL. New moms experiencing depression are not alone. 1 in 5 women experience postpartum depression, and that includes comedian Angelina Spicer. We spoke to her about how she's using laughter and her life on the road to help moms live their best life. That's today's DBL Spotlight.
Angelina, welcome to DBL. Now, before we get to how you're helping new moms with postpartum depression, thank you for helping more Americans get vaccinated. Tell us about Spicer's Ride to Wellness. What inspired you to take action to get Black and Latino communities vaccinated?
I thought to myself, there's got to be a way that I can get vaccinated and that I could help members of my community get vaccinated too. So I went to my alumni group of Howard University students. I told them, listen, I don't know how, but I've become the Harriet Tubman of vaccines. So I need a little help. And within an hour, my Bison family came through, and I had enough buses to vaccinate 250 people.
Wow.
For you.
Unbelievable.
Well done.
So many lives saved, honestly. Now, in addition to being a bright light for many people during the pandemic, you've been able to find humor in your own struggles and becoming a new mom. When did you realize that you were suffering from postpartum depression? I suffered through it, and Jeff and his wife suffered through it. What should other moms who are watching right now be on the lookout for?
I didn't connect with my baby. I got angry with my husband. It was just a challenge for me on all different angles of my life, including work. As a stand-up comedian, I need my sense of humor. I need to be able to see the world through my funny lens.
I felt so overwhelmed that I would eat dinner in my car.
I am trying to figure out how to juggle everything.
It was actually my therapist who noticed that I was suffering from postpartum depression, and thank God I had a therapist. She's the one who ultimately suggested that I check myself into a psychiatric facility for treatment.
Now you have an adorable 6-year-old daughter, Ava. What's the best thing about being a mom right now?
The best thing about being a mom is that I've healed from postpartum depression. I'm now able to fully live in the moment with my daughter and my husband, and we can enjoy each moment and milestone together.
You've officially kicked off your postpartum revolution road trip, which is super dope, with a fabulous pink bus. Come on, girl, super dope. Now, you have to tell us, what's it like back being on the road, connecting with a live audience? I've done stand-up for 14 years, so I know how the rush you must get.
I realized that everybody is a liar. They post these pictures and they're like, oh my gosh, I love my baby. My heart is beating outside of my body. I pushed my daughter out. I was like, I made a mistake.
Oh my gosh, it has been so fulfilling to be able to get back on the road, travel from city to city, doing what I love, performing stand-up, but also connecting moms to care.
You're also in the process of producing a documentary. What can we expect and how can we support it?
All of my efforts are 100% crowdfunded. So I'm so excited about this documentary film because it's a hybrid format. It includes stand-up comedy.
She's fed, she's changed, and she's still screaming. Here you go.
Animation, talking head interviews, and the Postpartum Revolution road trip.
Angelina Spicer, thank you so much for making us laugh and being an advocate for new moms. DBL Nation, you can find out more about Angelina's tour and help raise funds for her documentary by visiting angelinaspicer.com. You are incredible. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, girl.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Walk into your favorite store and you'll see a wall of choices to protect your skin from the sun. A verified viewer texted us asking about the difference between spray-on and lotion sunscreens. So let's verify. Are spray-on sunscreens as effective as lotions? Our sources are Harvard Health and 2 board-certified dermatologists to explain it's all about how you apply sunscreen.
I think it's easier with a lotion to make sure that you're getting full coverage. With a spray, you may not be as careful. So that is a consideration with the spray.
Dr. Rajani Kanta also says despite the advertising, you can't simply spray and go.
I recommend that you spray and then you make sure that you rub it in so that you're not missing any of those, you're not missing any spots.
Harvard Health found when spraying, most people apply just a quarter of what they need. Researchers recommend spraying each area for up to 6 seconds.
You know that you have enough when your skin glistens. If it's not glistening, you gotta put more.
But Dr. Danilo Del Campo says that doesn't mean sprays, when used properly, are any less effective than lotions.
Between a lotion that has SPF 30 and a spray that's SPF 30, they are equivalent. However, the difference is how do we apply it and the method that we apply it.
So we can verify, yes, spray-on sunscreens are as effective as lotions. However, they may be more difficult to use correctly than lotions. The doctors also say parents may want to use lotions for their children because it's harder to spray a good coating when kids are squirming around. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Back to DBL.
I was sure you were going to have something like really funny, and you just stayed on the camera.
I think sometimes the dead silence is funnier than whatever I could come up with. We'll see you guys tomorrow.